Hey guys, how's it going? Hey guys, how's it going? I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick, and then we can get started. So let me just post up all these links and set up the room real quick, and then we can get this started. So today is January 31st. So we're done with month one of 2021, guys. Congrats to you guys who locked in a bunch of profits with us this month. It's been a pretty good month overall, especially with the new scalping strategy. We're able to lock in a ton of profits towards the end of the month, especially. So let me get this link out real quick. There's another scalp entry right here that we were discussing in the premium group. If you guys are in the premium, over here, Henry mentioned the US 30 scalp, and then I marked it up for him right here. And it looks like it's starting to drop. So this could be pretty good for the most part. I might enter this real quick. Let's see. For a little entry right here. Yeah, I'm going to enter it for a bit. Let me just take a... MT4 is slow right now. Let me just finish up setting up the room, and then we can get started with that. So I'm trying to enter it on my MT4, but for some reason my MT4 is not loading. Let me get this back on here. I think we're good to go. Let me just post this link up real quick, and then we can get started. So can you guys type in the chat? Let me see if it's working. Is the chat working? Just want to see if the chat's working real quick before kick this off. But let me just post this link as well for the premium groups right here. So all right, let's link up real quick. All right, so I think everything's pretty much good to go for the most part. Let me just make sure everything is cool over here. See if the chat's working. All right, cool. Looks like the chat's good. Let me go ahead and send this link out to Facebook and a couple other places, and then we can get started, guys. So get that on there. Get that up here. So hopefully this, I bought a huge Ethernet cord, guys, to go from my other big room to my office to see if we don't get disconnected here. So it looks like I'm still having some connectivity issues, but I'm not sure if it's just because it's getting used to this new cable or not, but hopefully it doesn't linger for too long. Let's post this link up over here real quick. And I think the last place I got to post it is on the Instagram. I'm like tempted to enter the sell right here for US 30. It's a sell scalp for pretty decent. Let me just probably take it with oops. Turn that on. Options, one-click trading. I think one click's better. All right, guys. So I entered this sell right here for US 30. Let's see how it plays out. Stop loss is 30167. TP is 29967. All right, I just took a standard lot. It's not too bad. Nothing too crazy. Just let that run right there. And then let me see what else is going on here. So let me just post this link up to the Instagram real quick, guys. And then we can get started. So I see that I see everybody here in the chat. Let's see who's here right now. Let's see. Let's go. Hey D, how's it going? Hey City. Hey Lisa. Hey Greg. Hey Smokes. Hey City. Hey Felix. Hey Kevin. Hey Louisa. Hey Dennis. Hey Jeremy. Hey Billy. Hey Peter. Hey everybody. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. I'm back to make some more money here, so I'm ready to get to trading. I couldn't wait for this weekend to end because I was so excited to apply this this new strategy further. Because if you guys have been following my live sessions for the past week or 2 weeks, you guys have seen that we've been applying this new scalping strategy that I created, and it's been a hit, man. It's been a hit for everybody. So hopefully you guys are as pumped as I am, but I'm ready to make some more money this week. I'm going to post this link up to our There we go. Our US 30 is in profit right now. I took a couple positions earlier too. So if you guys were following me earlier, I took a gold scalp earlier today, and we made some pretty nice profit off that. And then a couple of the other K2 members took their own scalps as well, which all pretty much hit full TP. So if you guys were following the premium group earlier, so I think what happened here was, yeah, so Zephyr over here asked about this the Nisei 225 right here. So basically right here, Zephyr identified this buy right here, right? And then Zephyr was asking, how does it look? I said, it looks good. And then Zephyr said, thanks for the extra confidence. I checked it a few minutes later. So this was like 7:07, about 30 minutes later, it hit full TP. So Zephyr caught that on their own. I didn't call that trade. They just pretty much took it on their own, made some profit. Easy as that. And then this gold trade right here as well. It's the same thing. Me and Zephyr were talking about these trades like all since the market opened. Like earlier, let's see. Earlier today, there was a bunch of full TPs that hit. Like Josh's strategy right here. This isn't even my strategy. This is Josh's strategy. James over here mentioned it. Sunday entry in profit. I identified it right here, and then a few minutes later, that hit full TP right there. So everyone's pretty deep in profit now in K2 for the day. Even this SPX right here. I missed this trade. But I think Tam took it. I'm not sure if she took it or someone else took it, but I know some people took it. And everyone's just been hitting profits. The market's only been open a couple hours, and literally everyone here is killing it. Like Lisa over here, I know you're looking at UK 100, Lisa. I wanted to take that trade too right here. Unfortunately, we didn't take this. We probably could have taken this one right here, right? The one you were looking at. It would have hit full TP right there. So that's pretty good. If this comes back and, we have another entry right here, then I'll probably take this one with you if you want to take that right there. And then we can hit some profits off of that. Overall, nice. My US 30 is in profit about $200 right now. Let's see. Nice. Come on. So we got this right here. If you guys want to enter that trade, you guys, it's kind of late, but I'm going to set my alerts here. US 30 scalp full TP. Going for about 1,000 pips. Not that bad. I'm aiming for like about 1,000 profit because I took a standard lot. So if you guys have the K2 indicators and you guys are applying the scalping strategy, you guys will know exactly what I'm talking about here. What we're looking for. We had the rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure, and then we're anticipating this to drop from this point. I might even take off my TP and just ride this down even further if it continues to drop. So we'll see how that plays out. It looks great so far. I'm in profit about 2 something. Not bad, not bad. UK 100 right here. It's about to reject off this point. We might have an entry off that as well. Let me see if there's anything else that I'm missing here before we continue on. Let me check this real quick. So make sure everything's good. All right, cool. Those trades were taking all my 5 accounts because I have 3 FTMOs and then I have my Hugo's Way as well. So I took that on like 5 accounts right now. So it's looking good so far for the most part. I just need this to drop even further to lock in more profits on that. So we'll see how this goes over here. Hey Vishnu, how's it going, bro? Hey Captain, how's it going? Doing great, bro. Weekend was great. Ready to start trading. Ready to make some more money this week. Morning Sippin, how's it going, bro? Or not morning. I'm calling the same morning, you guys. It's nighttime right now. Evening, everybody. Hey Lloyd, how's it going? I'm doing great, man. Hopefully you're doing great too. Here's the John. Hey daddy. Thanks. John said, I missed that US 30. Is it in a sell? Yeah, John. So this was the US 30 off the 30-minute chart. I forget who identified this. I think Henry mentioned it, right? Yeah, so Henry mentioned right here, he identified it actually. I didn't even see it, but he said US 30-minute scalp and he tagged me in it. So I pulled it up and it looks good. So when I saw that right there, I entered right away and I'm now in profit right now about $300. So it's doing pretty good so far. Obviously, I want that full TP right here for 1,000. I might even take my TP off and continue writing it down if it drops even further. So I'm in this trade right here for US 30. My other trade that I took earlier was this gold trade. I already hit full TP on that a couple hours ago. Let's see. Yeah, this gold trade right here. So if you guys are following earlier, me and Zephyr were talking about it. Zephyr mentioned gold, and then it was actually some drawdown. So we were kind of tripping out earlier. So Zephyr mentioned this gold trade right here. He was like, how does this look? And then I said, I'm going to buy. It's risky though. Took a small position. It was like in negative, right? And then like a few minutes later, it did exactly what we thought it would do. Shot right back up in profit. A few minutes after that, it hit full TP. So I closed out on that already. Started this week with some nice profits off that. And then I'm just I'm pretty much just going on with it. So we'll see how this goes. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else to look at before we get started with this chart analysis. So if you guys have any questions, just put them in the chat. I can take a look at anything. And if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like the stream, that'll definitely help. Like I mentioned before, if you guys continue to like the stream and this channel continues to grow, I'll continue to come on live for you guys to give you guys these trades live, as I take them. Otherwise, I think we're probably gonna make this private just for the premium members. So as long as the channel grows, we'll continue to come on live. Otherwise, this will probably be private, and then you guys can see you guys can see the replay later on. So let me just go ahead and see if there's anything else for us to take right now on the 10-minute. I just don't want to miss any trades because I feel like I was missing trades earlier. So NASDAQ is cool. S&P is already done. UK 100. I think this is the only one that we're really waiting for right here. Waiting for UK 100 to come down, test the structure and the pivot, and then catch another buy in this direction. So that's probably what we're waiting for here. Other than that, I don't really see much to look at this point. Unless you guys have something you guys want me to look at for a scalp, I can. And if you guys are new here, I'll show you guys the new scalp strategy as well. I'll go over it briefly before we continue further. But I'm going to go through the questions, see if there's anything there. And then if there's anything else that we need to cover, we should be good to go. And make sure that this is good. All right, all the links are posted. I think we're good to go. See if there's anything else right here. Let's see if there's anything right here. Nice. So City's in this trade too. City's he got in at 30,069. Oh, solid. Okay, so you got in like right at perfect entry, City. So you're pretty good at this point. Nice. Yeah. Thanks for confirming the chat, guys. There's been an issue with YouTube chat lately, where it wasn't working, but I think it should be good. Yeah, and Billy said up 2,800 since market open. Nice, Billy. Congrats, bro. You've been killing it, dude. So hopefully you're starting your new challenge this week, so you can lock in that funded account, and then like I mentioned, we'll all have get those 3 accounts put together. You have 300K right there. Just keep applying these strategies, and you'll be good. And just a recap for people's profits this week. So like some people took weekend profits right here. Sisuk locked in about 300 like on market open. This is his full profits for the week. He made 15,000 last week. Vincent over here is funny. Vincent mentioned me. He hit me up on Saturday. He's like, dude, this new strategy works good as fuck on Bitcoin. So this dude was trading Bitcoin on Saturday. He locked in like 563 yesterday. I mean, you can see that he obviously made more, but the fees were pretty high for Bitcoin trading on the weekend. But he applied it on his own. I didn't even take that trade, but he did. And he locked some, nice profits out of Bitcoin. Sisuk, obviously, he was like scalping all Friday. Jeremy over here, she locked in a whole bunch right here. That's awesome, Jeremy. I remember when we talked, and you locked in like 7,000 for that week. Using this the new scalping strategy. She's actually doing it on the 1 minute, which is pretty insane. But she locked in some nice profits. So everyone here is pretty much killing it. Jacob over here locked in about 172. So congrats to everybody. I'm ready for another great trading week. So if you guys are with us here today, you guys are in the right place. Let's get started and see what else is going on here. Let's see. Lloyd said, what's TP for US 30? I got a small account, but I scalped like $3 and the initial drop on gold's nice, dude. Nice, Lloyd. So the TP for US 30 is going to be right here. TP is going to be at 29,967, and the stop loss is going to be at 30,167. Just keep in mind, guys, this is a risky trade. I just took it because I thought it looked good, but I don't know if it's really going to play out like as smooth as we want it to, because the market is just opening, and there's just like the market hasn't stabilized yet from the weekend, right? It still is getting there. I think we're going to get real volatility once we enter London session. But looking at it here, I mean, there's no lower zones at this point because it hasn't dropped this low in a long time. I think the last time price was down here was back in, first week of January. So like at about a month now. So this is a risky trade. However, I'm in the trade. So you guys want to hop in, you guys can. Otherwise, you guys can probably just sit out for a bit. Billy said I used the 5 minutes nuts. Yeah, I know Billy's crazy, bro. Taking those on the 5 minute. So Billy's here on the 5 minute chart. Or let me just get a clean chart for you guys. I don't want to mess up the charts that I already have up. But I'll just show you what Billy probably saw when he took these those little 5 minute scalps. So I think if you were scalping US 30 on the 5 minute, you probably could have caught some nice moves. Let's see, 5 minute right here, turn on the pivots. Yeah, dude, just looking at price right here, it looks like, I mean, on market open, you probably could have locked in some nice, see, today was the 31st. Yeah, just trying to see right here. So there's like one zone right there. There's another zone right here. So if you were scalping this on market open, you could have locked in some nice profit off this. And I don't think I even got to show Billy's profits here. Billy's been killing it as well. Let's see, so you guys see Billy in the chat, right? I'm gonna show you what Billy got last week, because Billy took a break and he came back after he saw this strategy. Dude started killing it. Look at Billy right here. He's locking 5,000 on that account. Straight winners. Look at that, Billy. Billy's like literally been killing it. He's doing this on the 5 minute. So Billy killed it on there. You guys can see here, this is everyone's profits. Yeah, look at Billy. He said 100% win rate. Lowest drawdown was 122. Billy locked in about 4,000 on that day. And then Billy, his FTMO is like going crazy right here, nonstop wins. So it's looking pretty good actually. Yeah, so Billy's he's looking to buy. So the thing with this right here is if you saw this rejection off this structure and off the pivot, you could have taken a long position right there to full TP. And then again, right here, there's a rejection off the pivot. There's actually a couple of entries right here. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Dude, there's like 7 entries here on the 5 minute. So Billy, if you took all those entries right there, you'd have one scalp right here, full TP, another scalp right here, full TP, another scalp right there, these are a lot of scalps. You could have locked in a lot of profit off this. I wish I went on the 5 minute. I probably should have. But yeah, Billy, I mean, it looks good, dude. I haven't really looked at it on the 5 minute, but now that you've been doing it, maybe I should start looking at it. So we'll see how that goes. Other than that, we're pretty much just chilling for the most part. I'm not really trying to force too many trades today. I already made some profit off gold, and then now I'm making profit off US 30. So we'll see, and pretty much just let that play out. Elijah's asking how do I become a premium member. So Elijah, if you want to join K2 and have access to the premium, just go to our website, k2trades.com right here, k2trades.com. And then if you just want access to the signals, you can click right here for the signals. Or if you want access to the indicators so that you can apply the strategy like everyone else, you can just click this right here, K2 strategy course. And then you can sign up to there. It's pretty cheap. If you want the signals, it's $60. If you want the indicators, it's $200. But obviously, as you can see right here, everyone covers that subscription with like one trade. So if you want to, it's available to you. If not, you can hang around and just copy my trades if you like on here. But you're not going to get them real time unless you're in the premium group. So that's pretty much how you'll sign up right there. Other than that, let me go ahead and check out the chat, see what else is going on here. Idalia wants me to check out Bitcoin. So yeah, I'll check out Bitcoin for you, Idalia. Just add you on the list over here. Idalia wants me to check out Bitcoin. So I'll check out Bitcoin. Billy said that was one day I did. Flying up 2,800. I took $1,000 loss. I'll show you. Stopped out by 5 pips. Yeah, that sucks, Billy. Sometimes that happens, dude. Like where price just spikes around and then it ends up stopping you out. So check this out right here, guys. US 30, we have that one entry there. If this closes here again, which it is, there we go. That candle just closed. There's actually 2 sell entries right here that have appeared. So, with that said, that kind of gives me more confidence that this is going to drop even further. So we'll see how that plays out. But right now we have one question from Idalia. Idalia wants me to check out Bitcoin. So I will, I'll analyze Bitcoin for you guys. So if you guys are new here, I'll show you guys how I analyze pretty much anything, Forex, commodities like gold, and a couple other ones as well. Here, let me go. Sorry, guys. Let me just message Joel real quick. Joel has issues getting into the thing. I rejoined at Joel, send you. So let's get Joel real quick. All right, cool. So it looks like we're good. So first thing we're gonna look at today is Bitcoin. So if you guys are brand new here, you guys will see how I analyze the charts. This is pretty much how I analyze it. I'll take everything off the chart. Like literally everything. There's a naked chart right there. First thing I do is I turn on the K²SR indicator, and then I go ahead and draw the zones on the chart for you guys, so that you can identify, where the rejection points are, and where to trade and where not to trade. Obviously, you don't want to trade near the rejection points because you'll probably get caught in a reversal. But if you guys are able to identify these rejection points using the K²SR indicator, you should be pretty much good to go. So looking at Bitcoin right here, looks like price is just, it's within a range right now of some sort. Let me just delete this. Yeah, so looking at Bitcoin right here, once I have my zones drawn out, I turn off the K²SR indicator, and then you guys can see from right here, we have some perfectly drawn up zones, right? So once I have that drawn up, I turn on the momentum indicator right here, so I could identify the direction of price. So currently right here, we have a bearish momentum, right? Because we have a previous sell signal indicating that momentum is going to swing downwards. If you guys look at these vertical lines here, you can see that whenever we get a sell signal, momentum swings down. When you get a buy signal, momentum swings up, vice versa, down, up, down, up. Simple as that. So for right here, we have a sell signal, right? This is a sell signal right here. So what I think is going to happen here is I kind of see this rejecting off this point to test this structure. Because generally when we get a sell signal or a buy signal within structures, you guys can see here that price generally goes to the next structure, right? So we get a sell signal right here. It tests this structure, breaks through it, tests this structure, breaks through it, swings back up. After it reaches this point, we get a buy signal, right? What happens when you get the buy signal? It comes up, retest structure right here, and then it shoots all the way up, right? It's the same thing that repeats itself over and over again. Right here, we get a sell signal, test structure, breaks it, goes to the next structure. Right here, buy signal, test this structure, rejects off, sell signal, comes back down. So looking at this right here, we have a sell signal, right? After the sell signal, it still hasn't tested the structure down here yet, right? It has to test the structure. It doesn't have to, but most of the time, when you get a sell signal like that, it's got to test the structure. It got close to it right here, but it didn't necessarily test the structure yet. So what I see happening right here is I see this as a break and retest, right? Price broke, retested structure, and then it's probably going to come back down to finish its move. It hasn't finished the move yet. So scenario number one is Bitcoin's probably going to come down, test this structure. And then once it tests the structure, it can do one of two things. It can either reject off it and swing right back up. If it gets a buy signal, kind of what happened right here, right? We had a sell signal, came down, test structure. We had a buy signal, it swung right back up to here. So what we can see happening here is price can reject off this structure, come down, test this structure, and then shoot back up. Other than that, price can either break down and continue farther down here before possibly rejecting off this point. So there's a couple different scenarios that can come out here. What I personally see happening is it's probably going to reject off this point, come to this point, and then once it gets to here, this is going to be a further analysis, right? Once you get to this point right here, you can weigh the pros and cons, whether it's going to reject off this point or if it's going to break down further. So this you're probably thinking too far if you're looking this far, right? So right now, these are the two scenarios that you want to think about. You want to think about whether it's going to reject off this point or if it's going to provide a buy signal and then swing above here and push up higher. Those are the two main scenarios that can play out here for Bitcoin, right? It's only like one or two things. So you kind of have like, I don't want to say a 50-50 because I still have a sell bias here, obviously, because this never came down and tested the structure. It's probably like a 60-40, maybe 70-30 chance that it'll reject off this point and then come back down here. Once it gets to this point, this is where it gets a little tricky because you'll have to figure out whether it's going to continue down further or if it's going to reject off this point and swing back up. So that's pretty much what I see happening for Bitcoin right now. And this is pretty much what I'm anticipating. So that's pretty much for Bitcoin right there. Other than that, sorry, let me check mine. I'm getting a bunch of messages right now. All right, no, that's fine. So yeah, this is pretty much what I see happening for Bitcoin right here. It's probably gonna reject off this point, come down, test this structure. And then once it comes down to this point, it can either reject back up and swing back upwards, or it'll probably break through here and test this structure down here. That's pretty much what I see happening for Bitcoin. What else we can do over here? All right, so that's pretty much it for Bitcoin. If you have any other questions about Bitcoin, feel free to let me know. But otherwise, you know, this is my bias right here. I have a sell bias to come because it hasn't tested here yet. And then from that point, we can analyze it further. I'm sure someone's going to ask about Bitcoin tomorrow. So if you guys sit in on my live session tomorrow, you'll see me analyze it even further. But I'll leave this marked up here so that we can see how it plays out by tomorrow. And then we'll see if it actually played out. Let's see what else we got over here. Paul's asking, why do you think US 30 is a sell? So the reason we're taking the sell is we're scalping it down because we have a scalp entry right here. If you know how the strategy works, Paul, I don't think you're in the premium. I haven't seen you before. Basically, we identified a rejection off this pivot, a rejection off the structure. So we anticipate it to drop slightly. It doesn't mean it's going to drop super far. It's going to drop slightly enough to hit our TP. That's pretty much it. So we're not looking at this from a bigger move. We're just looking at it at a short-term move for probably from now until London session. It's only about 1,000 pips, so it's nothing too crazy. And it's still Asia session right now, so it's moving pretty slow. But this is why we identified a sell for US 30. I'm not sure if you're new here, Paul, or if you watched, you know, any of the previous live sessions, but I go over the strategy pretty in depth. And we've been applying this strategy all day today. And everyone's been hitting pretty much TP. Like earlier today, I took gold that hit full TP right there. Other people here took other trades as well. Let's see what else did we take here. Yeah, Zephyr took the JPY, the NSA, full TP right there. And then we had S&P as well over here. So all the scalps have been hitting this morning, or not this morning, this evening. That's basically what we see happening from this point. But yeah, I mean, this is why I see US 30 coming down. I don't see it coming down long term. It's not a long-term move. It's just a small scalp. Because, you know, obviously it can come down, hit our TP, and then swing all the way up, right? That's why it's a scalp move. It's not necessarily a long-term move for US 30. If you want me to analyze it for long-term, I can pull it up right here as well. So let me just pull up US 30. Let's see what else we got over here. So we got US 30 right here. I'm just gonna clean it up. We have a naked chart right here. I'm gonna turn on, well, you know, obviously even looking on the 1 hour time frame, it's still in a downtrend, right? So I mean, this is another indication that it's coming down further. You know, obviously it's like retracing slightly. So that's one confirmation that it's probably coming down. And this has been coming down since January 21st. So if you look here, this has been dropping actually since the 21st. So it's currently in a downtrend. That's like one confirmation that's, you know, probably going to continue down. Another confirmation is using the pivots right here. Obviously, you can see that the momentum is coming down pretty strong, right? So there's a lot of indications that price is coming down. I don't necessarily think it's going to come down like long term, but I'm just going to take that scalp, you know, even if it's a risky trade, because it looks pretty decent so far. So looking at this right here, I'm just going to go and draw my zones, and then I'll identify it, or I'll, you know, analyze it from a long-term perspective, just to show you, you know, what I think is going to happen long-term. Let's see. Yeah, but that move that I took, that's not a long-term move. Just to, you know, just to clear that up, because I don't know if you think that I was calling that as a long-term sell. Not really. It's just a small, like, little scalp. But I'll just analyze here on a longer-term scale to see, you know, what we see happening here. So after I drew my zones there, I'm going to hide this. And yeah, you can see right here that it established like a pretty strong rejection off this point. It rejected off it over here, came back down. So it rejected off here on January 7th, came down, came all the way back up, rejected a second time on the 21st, and then it just came crashing down from that point. Looking at price right here, I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator. Right here, we have a buy signal. So like I mentioned earlier, when I was analyzing Bitcoin, I mentioned that when we get a buy signal like this, generally it comes up and tests the structure, right? It comes up and tests the structure. And then what usually happens after that is that it breaks or it rejects off it and then comes right back down. So what I kind of anticipate happening right here is if this doesn't close above this structure, then I anticipate it to drop, right? So I definitely don't want it to break above the structure. This upper point is going to be, let's see, 30,086. If price fails to break above that structure, or breaking close, actually, that's a better term for it. So I personally don't want it to break and close above it. If it fails to break and close above it, you can see right here the 3 times that it tested, or 4 times actually. It tested it once, it failed to break above, tested it twice, failed to break above, and closed. And then it ended up dropping from that point, you know, about like 4,000 pips. So that's kind of what I'm wanting to happen here, because I'm taking that scalp move. I want it not to break above it, so this same pattern will play out again, right? You see these wicks right here? It wicked off it, and then it came all the way back down. I'm just trying to find a better example over here for when it actually broke above it. Okay, so like right here, you can see that when price broke above it and it actually closed, that's when it shot up from that point, right? And then it shot up from this point, we got a buy signal, it shot up to the structure. Like same analysis that I've been doing for pretty much every other pair I analyze. In the same situation right here, every time it breaks above it and it closes, it ends up shooting to the next structure, right? It broke above it, closed, buy signal, up to that structure right there. And then same situation. So that's pretty much what I see happening for US 30 right now. I'm just waiting for it to, for this candle to close. It still has 17 minutes left on it. So it's still got like quite a bit amount of time to go. But I think this will be the determining factor here. Whether it breaks above it and closes, or if it rejects off it and it wicks, then it'll probably drop. So I'm hoping that's what happens, because you can see right here, the last time that happened, it wicked down and then enough to hit our TP, right? Obviously right here, it's struggling to get past that structure. And you can see that the structures are a little different. So like right here for the 1 hour, the structure is at 30,086. The structure for the 30-minute is actually a little higher. So this might be the better number right here. The better number is probably like 30,107. If price breaks and closes above that, then we can probably think about it shooting up higher. Otherwise, if it rejects off this point, we can probably see it drop. So that's basically my analysis for it, Paul. But yeah, I don't really have a long-term bias on US 30 right now, because what happened last week, I'm sure you guys saw what happened like on Friday, right? On Friday, it just ended up crashing like super heavy. When was it? Right here on the 29th. So on the 29th, it tested this structure, rejected off it, got a sell signal, and the same pattern always repeats itself, right? If we get a rejection off structure, and then it's followed by a buy or a sell signal. So right here for this example, it's a sell signal. And then on top of that, it breaks and closes past structure. So when you see this pattern right here, this usually ends up dumping pretty heavy. So like right here, we had a rejection, sell signal, broken close past structure. It ended up dropping super duper heavy down here. Unfortunately, I didn't take this trade. I don't like trading on Fridays. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because look at these like whipsaws right here. This ended up spiking around about 3,000 pips or 4,000 pips. So if I was to take a trade here, I probably would have gone stopped out, because it was bouncing around so much. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I see happening for US 30 for the time being. So that's pretty much it for that. I want this to close with another wick right here, because then this would technically be a triple test of this pivot and structure. So the more tests that happens off a pivot or structure like that, the higher odds that it'll continue crashing down. Like for example, over here, you can see it tested at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After 6 tests, look how far it dropped. We're at 7 actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. After that 6 test right here, it like dumped like heavy off that point, right? Like 7,000 pips. It's a huge drop for US 30. So like right here, we have 3 tests already technically. And I'm hoping that charges up for a nice drop. Because if you just follow this through here, you can see how many times it tests, like 1, 2 test right here, or actually tested it 1, 2, 3, 4. And then from that point, it dumped about 2,700 pips. Again, right here, like I mentioned, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tests. And then it dumped like a pretty heavy drop right here, about 7,000 pips. So I'm pretty much just waiting for it. I'm waiting for this to drop from here. Obviously I got in a little early. I probably could have waited for this one right here and then got in at a higher price right here, but it's all good. I'm just, I'm in the move, and I think my range would cover that anyways, you know, regardless. So we are going to continue watching for that. And then we'll just, you know, we'll pretty much just see how this plays out. All right, so let me check out the chat real quick and see if there's anything else. If you guys want me to analyze anything else, feel free to put it in the chat, and then I can analyze, you know, any pair that you guys want. Let me see if I missed anything. No, I think I'm good. So if I missed any questions, guys, just put it in the chat again, and then I'll analyze it for you. All right, so Mac wants me to take a look at NASDAQ. So I think we were looking at some NASDAQ scalps over here. Let me see if there's anything here. Yeah, actually, so I don't know if anyone took this NASDAQ scalp today. So there's actually a scalp right here. You can see the rejection off the pivot and the structure. So if you took this scalp right here, it would have hit full TP right there. What I'm waiting for here for NASDAQ is I'm probably waiting for this to pull back from here, probably reject off this point. And then I'm just waiting for a rejection off the pivot and off the structure so that we can probably take this down. Because you can see right here, this is the pattern that I'm looking for. I'm looking for this pattern right here where we have a nice rejection. Sorry, let me just move this over so it's not in the way. I'm looking for this nice rejection off a wick rejection off the pivot and off the structure. And when you get something like that, you can see how big of a drop happens following it, right? Look at that, 2,000 pips off NASDAQ. It's a nice move. I'll analyze this on a bigger scale first, and then I'll come back to this scalp to show you guys, you know, what I'm possibly looking for. So let me pull this up for Mac real quick. Pull up NASDAQ over here. So we got NASDAQ right here. I'm going to delete everything off the chart. We have our naked chart right there. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my K2SR to draw my zones. And just a reminder, if you guys are new here, if you guys want access to this, we're actually closing the sign up. So if you guys want access to the strategy and to my, you know, my indicators I've created, it's available to you. Just go on the website, K2 Trades right here, and then sign up for the K2 strategy course to get access to it. Otherwise, I think we're going to be closing signups pretty soon. So if you guys miss out on it, you guys will just have to wait for us to reopen it. I'm not sure when we'll be reopening it because I'm going to be focused on mentoring our current members. So once everyone gets it, I mean, everyone's pretty much got it already. If you guys are looking at, you know, all the team profits here, like majority of these profits here from the rest of the members they're from taking their own trades. So if you see here, like this is where it says today, and you scroll up here, it has the dates, right? If I scroll up here, these are all the profits from K2 members. I could literally scroll up all of January and you can see that this is never ending. Literally, I can stop there on the 6th. There's Vincent locked in some profits. Joshua locked in a couple thousand. Scroll up to December 29th. Nebros over here locked in some profit, and it's like continuous, right? So I just want to make sure all the K2 members are pretty much good to go before I, you know, take on any other people to teach or mentor. So if you guys aren't in K2, you know, this window is closing pretty quickly. So if you guys want to sign up, make sure you sign up before it closes. Otherwise, you guys can wait for the next cycle. So looking at NASDAQ right here, you can see I drew my zones and you can see how perfect these zones are, right? You can see these zones have been tested so far back. So I drew these zones today, but these same zones were created back in December 28. And I think that's about it because that's the highest NASDAQ has gotten. So NASDAQ is getting near this same structure that it tested back in December. And it looks like it's breaking back above, right? So I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator right here. And then this actually looks like a perfect setup. So we have a bullish bias right here because we have a buy signal. Obviously, you can see, like I mentioned before, when you get a buy signal, it's a bullish move up, sell signal, bearish move down, buy signal, bullish move up, sell signal, bearish move down. Looking at this right here, obviously we have a bullish bias. What I kind of see happening is, let me see, we have the rejection from this point right here. So nice rejection off here. We have the buy signal right here. What I'm waiting for next is for this green candle to close above this structure right here, right? It's the same analysis that I used for Bitcoin. It's the same analysis I used for US 30. It's the same analysis I use for everything. You guys can see how easy this pattern sets up. And when it does set up, it sets up for a big move. So like right here, rejection off that structure, buy signal. Look what happens when the candle closes above the structure. What we're waiting for right here. when it closes above the structure, it pushes up to the next structure right here, right? So if we were to see this, we could take a buy entry right here and ride this up for about 1,000 pip profit. Same situation right here. If this closes above the structure, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to push up, test this structure right here. You can take a buy position right there, ride this up for about 1,746 pips in profit. So that's kind of what I see happening there for NASDAQ. I'll show you right here. It's the same exact pattern. See this pattern right here? I'm going to draw it for you right here on January 17th. Rejection off this point. So we got a rejection right there. We got the buy signal right here. And then what happened after it broke structure right here, right? Same structure that it's breaking right here. It broke and closed past structure. And what did it do? It did the same thing that I just drew right there. It went up and tested that structure for a full TP of 1,746 pips. What happened when it broke the next structure? It's the same thing. So you guys can see how powerful these indicators are, right? I created these indicators myself, so I know how they work inside and out. I literally created this for this specific strategy. So right here, you can see broke structure, full TP, broke structure, full TP. What happened when it broke structure again right here? Full TP, right? So nothing really changes, guys. It's the same strategy, just getting repeated over and over again. And that's kind of what I see happening here for NASDAQ as well. You know, if this closes above this structure, then I anticipate it to continue up higher and pretty much hit full TP up here. But we'd have to be patient and wait for this to close. You have about 7 minutes left on this candle. Once that closes, you'll have a better understanding as to, where NASDAQ is probably going to be going. So this is pretty much what we're waiting for here on NASDAQ, and this is my bias. Once it reaches this point, it can do one of two things. It can reject off it, or it can break through it and continue up further, right? A lot of things can happen here. So that's my bias for NASDAQ. Yeah. And right here too. So like I looked at NASDAQ on the 1 hour, right? That's the longer move right there. This is the bigger move, the bigger picture. If I want to scalp it right here, if price comes down and tests this structure right here. So if it comes down and then it wicks off this structure and wicks off the pivot, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to catch yourself for a scalp as well. I'm going to take that right there for another 500 pips. I'm going to catch this big one right here for 1,000 pips. So I get a 2-for-1 right there. I win off the big move. I win off the small move, or, vice versa. It'll offset my position regardless. So that's pretty much what I see playing out within the next couple hours or so. So that's pretty much it for that right there. Same with US 30 right here. It looks like it's failing to, obviously break above the structure. If that happens, then it'll drop right back down, because that'll be 3 tests right there. Once I have that, it'll confirm that I'm probably going to have this drop further. So it's pretty much it for that. Let's see if there's any other questions before I move forward. Let's see. Max said sick, bro. Got it. Yeah, no problem, Mac. All right, cool. So let's see what else we got going on over here. We got Rich said, looks like US 30 is rejecting off the pivot nicely so far. Oh, Rami, what's up, Rami? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for right here. I'm waiting for it to reject off that pivot and close below it, Rami, and then we can take that. Well, I mean, I'm already in the sell if you want to take it, but this is pretty much what I'm looking for here. I'm waiting for that to reject off it. I'm looking for a nice wick. I want it to wick off and then have a bearish candle. And then if we have that, I think it's going to drop from that point. Let's see if there's anything else here real quick. I think I missed a couple questions. James mentioned, what would say is one of the most one could make monthly on a 10K account? Probably above 10%, James. I mean, average is probably 5 to 10%. But you can easily, there's really no cap on it. Mostly it'll probably be about 10% on average, but there's really no cap on it. If you have a really good week, you can have way more than that. So the average really depends on how the month is, or the week, or, I mean, depending on what your range is for that. So like, for example, here, if you're trading like a $10,000 account, so 10,000 times 10%, you probably make 1,000 off that, right? Which is not bad. I mean, it's fine. I don't really recommend using FTMO for anything lesser than 50K, because $1,000 right here, you can make this easier if you're just trading your own personal account. I just think it's a waste of time to do FTMO on anything smaller than the 50K, because you're not going to get paid for like a month or maybe even 2 months, right? So if you're not getting paid for 2 months, you could literally just be trading your own account and you can make this much in less time, because you get to keep your profits. For FTMO, it's good if you're trading the bigger accounts, because obviously you're not going to have that much capital in your own account. But if you're able to cover this on your own account, then this would probably be better to just trade on your personal. But this is pretty much what you would probably see on average, James, about 5 to 10%. So you'll be making about 5,000 to 10,000, 500 to 1,000 on that account, because the account's just too small, right? You're not going to over leverage it. You're going to make sure you do it properly, or you can risk losing the account. So let me see if there's anything else here before we continue. One second, guys. Let me turn on this fan. It's hot in here. All right. Looks like we're good. All right. So that's pretty much it for US 30. That's it for NASDAQ. Let me see if there's anything else here to look at. All right. The next question is for Luisa. Luisa wants me to analyze GJ for you guys. So let me pull up GJ. Do the same analysis I did for pretty much everything else. I'm going to go on the 4 hour. So for indices, I use the 1 hour because it moves a lot faster. For Forex, I use the 4 hour. It's a lot smoother on the 4 hour than anything lower than that. So right here, I've cleaned up the chart. I'm going to turn on the K²SR indicator. And I'm going to go ahead and draw my zones. So we'll start down here. Move up to the next one right here. This one right there. Let's see, these kind of connect. So let's connect these. And this one right here. When you guys don't have an upper zone, because obviously we need an upper zone, right? If you don't have an upper zone on the 4 hour, I go up to the 8 hour. Nothing there. I go up to the daily. Nothing there. I go up to the weekly. This happens sometimes, guys. If price is in a new area where it hasn't tested before, you're going to have to go like even up to the weekly or even the monthly in some instances. So looking at GJ right here, I have my upper zone. Dang, that upper zone is pretty far out. So this makes it kind of risky, Luisa, because I mean, there's like so much open space here, like from where price currently is to up here. That's 200 pips away, right? Looking at this right here, let's turn on the momentum indicator. We have a bullish momentum, right? So like, for example, here, it's the same analysis that I've been using for pretty much all the other pairs I looked at, pretty much all the indices and Bitcoin and whatnot. So like looking at this here, it's the same thing. Like right here, I have sorry, not right here. I have the rejection from this point right here. Then we have the, let's copy this. Then we have the buy signal right here. Then we had price break structure right here, right? So it did exactly, what I always mention. When price breaks structure like that, it comes up and tests this structure right here. And then it ended up ranging here for a while. But then once it broke structure again right here, so this strategy, like this can continue this pattern if we don't have a sell signal. If it's a buy signal and it breaks structure, then it breaks structure again, then it ends up continuing, right? From that point. The problem with GJ right now is that we don't have any zones within this area. So this can literally bounce around all over the place until it ends up, testing a structure that's valid up here. So overall, I think GJ is going to push up to this structure. It's going to have to test the structure at some point. We just don't really know when that would happen. The problem with this is, like I mentioned, there's no structures within here, but these structures can develop over time. Like for right now, there's no structures there, but I think during this week, like if this ends up bouncing around from here. So if this comes up right here and then say it comes back down and then say it tests like one of these areas, like same exact price point, because the way that these structures are developed using the K²SR indicator is that if price retests an area, like it has to be the same exact price point. It can't be off by a pip or off by a few cents. It has to be the same exact price. So like, for example, right here, you can see that this zone right here was drawn at about 142.262. The only reason this was drawn here is because the same price point was tested in the past or like after it. So with this right here, when there's new zones that get created, like, zones can get created at any time. For example, right here, we have no zones right now, but like I mentioned, price comes down, test the structure right here, and then say it creates a zone right there, right? If that happens right there, then it's going to be a whole different story. Because at this point, price can break below here, and then you can see in the opposite direction, that same strategy that I just mentioned, the same pattern, when you have a rejection off this, and then it's followed by a sell signal, and then it breaks structure down here, what does it do? It comes and tests the next structure right here, right? It's the same pattern that just keeps repeating itself. But like I mentioned, there's no structures up here right now. So we're not really sure whether it's going to continue up or if it's going to come back down. So just keep that in mind when analyzing GJ. I mean, obviously I see it pushing up further, but we don't know how far it's going to push up until it comes down. Looking at this as well, I can pull up the indexes here. So I could pull up the pound index here, and then we can analyze it from there. So here's the pound index, and then here's the Japanese index. So the yen index right here and the pound index, they're both bearish, right? It's kind of weird because they're both bearish, but you see this pushing up super strong. The reason why it's pushing up is because the pound is stronger than the Japanese yen right now. But the only problem is that they're both bearish. So if this continues to drop further, like say if this drops further and this continues to drop even more than it's dropping right now, then what we can see for GJs is probably just going to go sideways, because if they're both weak, they can't move up or down, right? Vice versa, if this ends up correcting this way, so say if this drops further, the pound index drops further, and the Japanese yen index shoots back up, right? If this happens right here, then you'll be in trouble, because at that point, this will just drop, right? Because if you guys understand how price moves, when price is going up, that means that the first currency is stronger than the second. When price is going down, that means that the second currency is stronger than the first. So looking at this here, I mean, the market just opened, so it's not fully in full effect just yet. But once we enter London session, we can probably see, some sort of burst in volatility, either in this direction or this direction. So we just really don't know what's going to happen from that point. And that's why I usually don't like to really trade on Sunday, because the market hasn't fully opened yet, right? We don't know what's going to happen once London opens. We don't know what's going to happen when US opens, because there's a whole bunch of news that can possibly affect the market when the market reopens. That's why I keep CNBC open over here to see if there's any news causing price movements. And then also I look at Forex Factory as well to confirm whether there's any news in the morning. So it looks like at 1:30 there's GBP news, medium GBP news that could probably affect the GBP. It looks like the previous number was 52.9 and it's forecasting to be the same, so it might not have an effect. But the big news is at 7 a.m. for the US dollar. We have the ISM manufacturing PMI. The previous one was at 60.7. It looks like it's going to be bad for the US. It's forecasting it to be lower. So it might be bad for the US dollar, and that'll affect a lot of pairs. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into play, but looking at this right here, Luisa, I obviously I have a bullish bias, but I don't know what's going to happen once London market opens, because this can easily either continue up further or it'll spike back down, test the structure before either coming back up or coming back down. So this is why I don't really like do deep analysis on Sunday. I usually wait until the market fully opens, like on Monday, to do a deeper analysis, because the last thing you want to do is be set on a buy right here, and then you wake up tomorrow and price is like way down here, right? So just keep that in mind, Luisa. Obviously, I have a bullish bias, but we'll see how this plays out into London session. So let me see if there's anything else over here. Hey, Kyle, how's it going, bro? Lisa said, looks like US 30 is pushing up above the zone. Yeah, so it did close above that zone right there. We'll have to see how this plays out. So a couple things can happen here. Let me go on the 1 hour, or actually it's above the 1 hour already anyways. What can happen here is price can just come crashing right back down, or if it keeps pushing up, then it might just push up even further. So this is another reason why I don't like trading on Sunday, because like I mentioned before, if you looked at it from right here, it looked like it was going to come back down, right? And then all of a sudden it just had a bullish move upwards. So we'll just wait and see how this plays out. I mean, if if it doesn't play out like we anticipated, it's completely fine. You know, we took the risk of taking this trade. And if this ends up, you know, stopping us out, it's fine because we have a whole week ahead of us, guys. That's why I took a small position for this. I didn't take a big one. Usually I take like a 1.5 or maybe a 2.0 sometimes. Right now I only took a standard because for when it was a bigger move, it's a 1,000 pip move versus the normal 500 pip move we take. And on top of that, I was just playing around with it, which is fine because I already had a couple wins today. I had a win for gold and I had a win for the other one too. I forgot what else we took today. If you guys remember, I know I took gold, and I think I might have taken an S&P trade. But yeah, that's fine. I mean, we're gonna wait and see how this plays out. If we go on the 10-minute over here, let me pull up US 30 on the 10-minute. So looking at this right here, this could actually swing back down too because it's reaching a resistance on the 10-minute right here. So if this happens, you can reject off that point as well. This is why a top-down analysis is pretty beneficial if you're analyzing it from different time frames, because you can see that, you know, obviously here on the 30-minute, it broke this structure, but on the 10-minute, I mean, there's another structure that's coming up right here. So we'll see how it plays out. Otherwise, I'm not too worried about it, guys. It's just Sunday. And, you know, if you use proper risk, you guys can eat losses. Like, that's a problem with a lot of people. They don't use proper risk. So they'll like blow their account on like one trade. For me, I use proper risk every time. I only risk about 1%. So if I lose one trade, it doesn't really affect me because I'm going to make it back on like the next two trades. So I'll cover that trade on the next trade. And then after that, I'll make profit. So it's no big deal if it does push up or not. Either way, I'm ready for another good week. All right, let's see if there's anything else here before we continue on with this. Let's see. Shawn said as much as you want. Shawn, I want to see you look at Dogecoin. Dogecoin. Let me pull up Dogecoin real quick. So Dogecoin. What's the Dogecoin? Yeah, Dogecoin US dollar. So looking at Dogecoin right here. I mean, you can't even really analyze Dogecoin because look at that move. There's like no way to analyze it, right? How could you analyze Dogecoin when it's like such a huge move like that? I mean, if you want to analyze it from here, I guess there's no zones up there. So there's literally no way to analyze Dogecoin on the higher time frames. You'd have to analyze it on the short time frames like this right here, the 30-minute. So looking at this at this point right here. I can't even look at this thing, Dijon. This is like the messiest pair I've looked at in a long time. Yeah, bro, honestly, there's like no way to really analyze this. Obviously, it's going to come down. I think, here, let me look at this. So obviously, I think it's going to come down because this move right here is just too crazy. Or I don't know. Let's see. So if it does break this structure, no, I don't. I still think it's going to come down, Dijon. I don't think it's going to come up that heavy because like this move is too heavy, bro. Like it shot up this much. How much did it shoot up from this point up to here? Dude, it shot up like 1,000%, 800% right there. It shot up 800%. And then once it got to that point, it dropped 70%. So I don't know. I personally think Dogecoin is going to drop because it's obviously this is a huge manipulated move. It will probably drop down to here and then it just might go into a range, or it might even just range where it's at currently. If it doesn't drop from this point, it'll probably just continue to range from this side over here. And then from that point, we'll see where it plays out. I don't think it's going to push up that high, bro, because everyone here, like they pumped it, they sold off. And then these guys, I think the guys that sold off from here, they're not ready, like they're not ready to buy this yet because they're not getting it at a discount, right? They're barely getting it at this point right here. I think they'd probably let it drop a little further down here. And then whoever was the big Dogecoin holders up here, they're probably going to wait for it to drop like way down here. And then they're going to rebuy it and pump it right back up. Unless like a huge amount of people end up buying it and they just spike it right back up. But I think the people who are up here who sold off, they're probably not going to buy in just yet. Because if you think about it, look how far, it didn't even drop that far. They're not really getting in at a huge discount. They're only getting in at this point right here, which is not, it's not a huge discount, right? If they drop it down here, like if it drops further and then they buy it from this point or even down here, then they'll get a huge discount. So just looking at this right here, I mean, honestly, this is, it's a huge bet. Like whether you think it's going to go in this direction or you think it's going to come down. I personally think it's going to come down. And then I think people are going to, I'm thinking, because there's a lot of areas right here. Look, so prices right here, people can think to buy the dip right here at this point, or this point right here, or this point. There's like 3 areas, like level 1 dip right here, level 2 dip right here, level 3 dip right here. But I think the real players in Dogecoin are probably gonna wait for it to drop even further right here and then buy it. But I mean, it wouldn't really matter if you're to buy it at any point within these zones right here, here, or here, you'll probably still make some money because they'll probably bounce back up eventually. I just don't think, I don't think this is enough of a discount for you to hop into Dogecoin. Because, but who knows? Like, you know, if someone pumps it, like if Wall Street Bets decides to pump Dogecoin or whoever wants to like hype up Dogecoin, they can spike it up from here. But, you know, looking from a logical perspective, I'd probably wait for it to drop a little lower before you buy it, because you can buy way more. So like, for example, right here, it's at about 4 cents or 41 cents, I guess. I don't know what this is. I think 4 cents. Yeah, about 4 cents. If you let it drop a little further to like 3 cents or even 3.5, you'll make way more money off Dogecoin if you buy it from that point. So that's pretty much what I see happening for Dogecoin. See if there's anything else here. Cameron said, you're gonna stay up London session all this week? If so, would you go live? So yeah, Cameron, if I do stay up, I will go live, but I'm probably not gonna stay up this week. I just got way too much work too, bro. Like until we cut off the signups for K2, I have too many mentoring sessions this week where I just can't, I can't stay up during London because I'm gonna have to wake up during US to have these mentoring sessions. So I'm probably not gonna have it this week. I'll probably have it maybe, if not next week, the week after. So let's see if there's anything else here. All right, cool. So next up, Kyle said, Shawn loves his sleep. Definitely, bro. I need to get my sleep so I can execute at full potential the next day. So that's it for Dogecoin right there. Honestly, I don't know what's gonna happen with Dogecoin. It'll spike up, spike down, but I have a sell bias here for Dogecoin. I'm gonna pull up XRP now for Cameron and for Idalia. So let me pull up XRP for you guys. Wow, look at XRP. What a crazy spike up, right? So looking at XRP right here, you know, honestly, I feel like XRP is getting pumped as well, because I think, aren't they still under investigation for the SEC? Let me see. XRP, SEC. Yeah, because I don't know if I thought XRP got delisted, right? For like most brokers, or like, I mean, the bigger brokers, not the Ripple formally responds to SEC allegations. What do they say? Claims SEC picking winners and losers, distorting facts about XRP. Respond right here. Cryptocurrency is not a security. Ripple accuses security regulator of being out of step, picking winners and losers. So this is probably what spiked it up, right? There was news here where Ripple responded to the SEC. They mentioned that they're not a security, they're a cryptocurrency. So like what this said right here, this probably is what spiked the price up, because they probably think that XRP is going to be safe again. But me personally, I wouldn't really mess with it, because, you know, obviously if you guys are familiar with how I trade, I usually trade, I only trade stuff that I know, right? Stuff that I'm very familiar with. So looking at XRP right here, I'm just going to draw my zones and then see exactly where, see exactly where these rejection points are. So it looks like even when XRP was pretty low right here, it was still respecting the K2 zones like pretty nicely. I mean, these are some messy zones, but just looking at it from here, it looks like it was still technically respecting the zones pretty all right. So we'll do that. I'll hide the K2SRs. All right. At this point right here, it looks like it's reaching a resistance. So I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator. We have a bullish momentum right here. So it's the same pattern that I've been analyzing for pretty much everything, even during manipulated conditions. You know, there's rejection right there, buy signal. As soon as it broke structure, it skyrocketed even higher. So what I kind of see happening here for XRP is it's probably going to come up, test this structure. It hasn't reached it yet. So it's probably going to come up, test this structure, and then once it tests this structure, it can either reject off it, come back down to here, or it'll continue pushing up even further. I personally don't know what will like necessarily, like I don't have a bias here because I don't know what's going to happen with XRP. I know there's a lot of news going on with XRP, so I don't know if it's getting pumped up or if it's going to you know, come back to where it's supposed to be, somewhere down here. Because obviously it was pumped right here. So it was pumped like on Friday or like all of last week, actually, from the 27th up until today. It pumped up pretty heavily right here. And then from this point, it's probably going to, well, here's the thing also with like specific cryptocurrencies, like there's not enough data for you to really pull these zones for like technical analysis, right? Because you'll see XRP here, like it'll be flat for like a whole, like who knows how long, right? It becomes flat for like all from like August up until October. And then in October, it just spikes up, right? It spikes up. And then as soon as it spikes up, the SEC attacks it and then it comes all the way back down. So this is why I personally don't trade cryptocurrencies. I don't trade it actively. Like if I'm going to buy cryptocurrency, I'm going to buy and hold it. I'm not going to actively trade it because you can see here that, you know, it doesn't really respect, I mean, it does respect it, but not as much as like you would like it to. Like if you compare like XRP right here to like US 30, you can see like how much it respects the structures, right? Versus something like cryptocurrency where it doesn't necessarily respect it. So like, for example, here, I'm analyzing it from this perspective. Like if I'm analyzing anything else that has like a lot of prior data for XRP right here, this can easily either reject off this point or it can do the complete opposite and just shoot right through it, right? It just depends on who's pushing XRP. Like if it gets pumped, then it'll probably just spike right through it and continue up higher. Or if it's like people are trading it like using a technical analysis, they're probably identifying the structure right here as well, because the last time it tested the structure was back in December. So if this ends up playing out like it did over here and we get a nice wick off that point, I guess this is something that you could look out for. Like when you see this right here, if you see a nice wick above, then it's probably going to drop. We do have a nice wick right here, but it's probably going to push up higher and actually test the structure right there before it ends up, you know, dumping from that point. A few things to look at if you guys are using the K2 indicators are what I've always mentioned: rejection, look for a sell signal, and look for a break in structure. So right here, obviously rejection, it broke structure right here, it closed below it, then we got a sell signal, it went down and tested this structure, right? Same thing right here. When price comes up right here, if we get a rejection off this point and then it's followed with a sell signal, then we could probably see it drop even further right there to test this structure right here. So there's a couple of scenarios that can play out here. I would just keep watching it. I wouldn't like necessarily buy it and then just hang on to it, because here's the last thing that you want to happen to you, right? You don't want to buy XRP and then all of a sudden it just comes crashing all the way down. You lose all your money, because that can happen. Literally anything could happen. It looks like, what did I do with the news that I was looking at earlier? So I was looking at the XRP news earlier. Let me see if I can find it over here. So I think this XRP news came out like just a few hours ago. Yeah, so Bitcoin.com, this actually just came out a few hours, 12 hours ago. So this, like 12 hours ago, this news came out, and then this is probably what pushed price, right? Because if you look right here, if you go back, let's see. Oh, actually, yes, the market just opened right here. So when the market opened, or let's see, 12 hours. Okay, so 12 hours was right here, right? So when that news article came out, price was right here. This is when where price was 12 hours ago. When that news came out, it spiked price up from this point a total of that far up, right? So within that time from that news article, this one right here, when this news article came out, it pushed price up like super heavy. What can happen next is, so Ripple responded to the SEC. What can happen next is the SEC can respond to Ripple, right? So when they respond to Ripple, they can send price crashing all the way back down. So that's why I wouldn't mess with Ripple right now. It's a speculative asset. If you want to take it, obviously if you want to take it, you're taking like a big risk. But if you do want to take it, I mean, just expect it to either go in one direction or the other. Because the SEC hasn't responded back to Ripple yet. Once they do, I could probably see it dropping quite a bit. Maybe not all the way down here, but probably to this zone or this zone down here. So just keep that in mind, guys. I mean, other than that, XRP is a speculative asset. It can literally go either way. There's no one way to really analyze it. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Cameron said, "Holy moly, how many pips is that?" So from right here up to here, it looks like it's about. I mean, honestly, I don't trade XRP, so I don't know how many pips this is. But if you guys know how much number this, I don't know if this is like 127 pips or 1,278 pips or 12,000 pips. I'm not sure. But this is the number that comes out when I drew that from this point, and then the news came out and it shot it all the way up. So just keep that in mind. But other than that, I probably wouldn't mess with Ripple until you have some sort of confirmation that it's going to be going one way or the other. So let me see if there's anything else over here. Let's see. Okay, sorry, Lisa. I just saw your messages right there. So Lisa actually confirmed that Ripple responded to the SEC, that same article that I was just looking at, this one right here, and that's what caused the bullish move right there. And then Lisa also mentioned that it's only delisted in the US. It's a global crypto. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So honestly, I don't know what's going to happen from here. I guess we'd wait. I would wait another day to see what's going on with XRP. I think if it breaks above here, so if this price breaks above here, then it's probably going to skyrocket higher. However, if it shoots down to this point, if you see a huge drop, like something like this over here, if you see a huge drop like this, then I'd probably sell it. But until then, I would just wait to see how people react to the news and catch the wave in that direction. See, other than that. Dennis mentioned, can I use a Visa gift card for payment with K2? Yeah, you should be able to, Dennis. I haven't heard any issues with that before, so it should be fine if you want to try it out. All right, guys. So I think that's it for the questions here. If you guys have any other questions, put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'll just go through the Forex pairs. I'll see if the zones are on proper, and I'll see if there's any moves coming up that we can possibly take. So I already marked up most of the charts with the new zones. When I was analyzing for trades off the past 4-hour candle close. So most of these zones are already up, so I don't have to redraw them. You can see right there. For example, I have all the zones right there, and you can see that my zones are already drawn over them. So if you guys want me to analyze anything more specifically, I can take a look. Otherwise, I'll just give you guys my analysis for pretty much the entire watch list as we prepare for the next move. So looking at this right here for OddCAD, we had a rejection off this point over here. So this is where the rejection happened. And then we had a sell signal right here, right? The problem with the sell signal is that it happened on Friday, right here on the 29th. And that's why we wouldn't have taken this trade. At this point, we could probably wait for this to possibly reject off here and then maybe catch a late entry right here. We could probably place the sell stop right here. And then if it ends up triggering it, it would fill the order and possibly drop further down right here. However, this isn't something that I necessarily want to take because it's only a 25 pip move. It's not really worth my my risk because I don't want to shoot for a 25 pip move, right? I want something a little wider for there to be cushion, unless you guys are scalping it. So looking at odd CAD right here, I have a bearish bias because we have a sell signal rejection off that point. We could probably have it reject off here for a break and retest because price broke structure here. It shot back up for a retest and then it's rejecting off it to come back down. So if this ends up happening, it'll probably come down, test the structure right here. Once it tests the structure over here, it can either reject off it or break right through it. But like I mentioned, it's too close to the structure right here. So I probably wouldn't take it. But if you guys do want to scalp it or take like a small move, this is probably a decent little scalp for this right here. All right, so that's it for that right there. Let me see if there's anything else. I'll just mark it up in case I want to look at it later on. Looking at odd CHF over here. Let me see if the zones are on proper real quick. Yeah, so I drew these zones earlier. Those zones are cool. The only difference is this one right here. I'll just fix this for odd CHF. All right, other than that, I think everything's pretty much good, right? So everything's lined up pretty nicely right there. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. Zoom out from this point. And there we go. Looks like odd CHF has a bullish bias right here. Let me see if there's an, yeah, so we had a buy signal right here. Same pattern identified for pretty much everything. Rejection off there. Buy signal here. The only thing we're waiting for now is for price to break and close past this structure. So if price breaks and close past this structure, somewhere around here, then we could possibly take a long position and pretty much write it to the next structure right there, right? That's basically what I see happening over here. But until then, you know, we have we have to wait for that confirmation. We have to wait for price to break and close past that structure before we can take it. Looking at this right here, you guys can go back to here and see, you know, the last time that this played out, like right here, we had a rejection. We had the buy signal right here. We had price breaking close past structure right here. And then what happened from that point? It went and tested this structure up here. So it's really simple, guys. If you guys are able to identify these things, obviously you can identify it on your own, but if you guys have the K2 indicators, it's going to make a huge difference whether you identify proper structure or not. Because one big problem with a lot of people is that they don't identify structure properly, right? This is probably one of the most subjective things that people identify. Because like, for example, here, if I hide this stuff right here, people could identify this as a structure, like above here, this is a structure, this is a structure, like everything looks like a structure to you, right? But if you have the K2SR indicator, it gives you pinpoint structures that you don't, like there's no second guessing. It literally does it for you. So with that said right here, if price breaks this structure, we can possibly take a buy entry from there. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark that up right there. I'm gonna go on to the next one. Let's see if there's anything else here. Sorry guys. I'm getting a bunch of messages right here, my text and my Telegram, and I have a bunch of emails as well for people trying to sign up before we shut down the signups for the K2 premium. Looking at OJPY over here. Let me see if there's anything else right here. Just gonna make sure all the zones are proper on here before I continue on. Take this off. There's no zone there anymore. Other than that, I think everything's good. Take this off down here. All right, so it looks like we're good right here. Looking at OJPY, I'm gonna turn on the momentum indicator. We have a bullish bias right here, but you can see, like I mentioned, we needed price to break this structure over here, right? It never broke the structure, so it never continued pushing up. What we would wait for here is for this to close above here, and then we can possibly take a long position. However, vice versa, if we have a sell signal, we can possibly take it in the other direction as well. So price can like easily swing back down, provide a sell signal, and then if that happens somewhere down here, we could probably take it for a sell instead, right? It can go in both directions. There's just, you're waiting for that confirmation before you take the trade. Like for example, right here, we have the rejection right here, but we don't have the sell signal yet, right? If you look right here, we had the rejection right here. We had the sell signal right here. And then we had price breaking close past structure right here, right? Once we had those three confirmations, rejection, sell signal, breaking close past structure, it ended up dropping right here for a drop of about 75 pips, right? Same situation right here. We're waiting for the we have the rejection. We're waiting for that sell signal like right here, and then a breaking close past structure down here. And then when that happens, we can possibly take a short entry right there for about 40 pips, maybe even farther for about 90 pips to 100 pips down here. So that's kind of what I see happening here for JPY. But like I mentioned, we don't have that confirmation yet. We have the rejection, but we don't have the sell signal. Until we get that sell signal, then there's just not going to be an entry available just yet. Other than that, if this ends up swinging back up here, then we can take a buy entry. So there's two different scenarios that can play out. Price can shoot up here. It can close up here. We can take that long entry, or it can close below here with the sell signal, and then we can take that sell entry. So buy up here or sell down here. Anything else here? So I'm just going to zoom through these real quick, guys. I'm not going to go too far in this analysis. I'm probably going to focus more on the scalps because I think that's what you guys want, right? You guys don't really want these bigger moves. Unless there's something that you guys want me to cover here, then I'll look on these higher time frames. But like I mentioned, there's not really much to look at right now because the market's it's a full swing yet. What I'm going to focus on right now is I'm just going to see if there's any entries that we could possibly take off the next 4-hour candle close. So for example, here we have the rejection right here. We have the sell signal right here, and it broke structure. So from there, it dropped down here. What I'd be looking for next is for odd NZD to close below here. If this closes below here, then we can take a short entry from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this on my watch list, and I'm probably going to come back to it when the candle closes. We have about 27 minutes left on this candle. So when that happens, we can possibly look for some entries. So John said, let's scalp, forget it, the Forex. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, what's up, Vishnu? Welcome back, bro. Let's see, CAD CHF. I'm gonna skim through these real quick, guys. I'm just gonna make sure there's no entries available. I mean, if there is, then obviously we'll look at the entries. Otherwise, there's just really not much to look at for the Forex market right now because it's just too slow. There's not much to really gauge at this time until we have some sort of confirmation in the market. So nothing for Euro odd, nothing for Euro CAD. I'm just looking for entries real quick that we could possibly take off the next candle close. Okay, so for EG right here, this is actually a pretty decent entry if it ends up closing. So if this closes below here, let's see if there's any other zones. No other zones. So it looks good for the most part. Real quick, guys, let me just make sure that there's no zones that are like right below it. Because if there's no zones, then we can easily take this trade here, 8-hour, nothing there. All right, perfect. So EG is like an example of something that we might take. Looking at this right here, the reason for that is it's the same pattern that we were just looking at, right? So we have the rejection right here. We have the sell signal right here. If this ends up closing below this structure right here, then we can have a sell entry. So that's pretty much what I'm waiting for right here. I'm just going to wait for it to close below the structure, and then we could possibly take a short position right here and then write it down. The only problem is we have news coming up in the morning. We have unemployment rate for the euro coming up, or for the euro coming up at 2 a.m. So in about, I guess, 4 hours or so, we'll have news for unemployment data, and that'll probably affect the market. So I'll keep this marked up right here, but I'll come back to it later. All right, I'm just going to zoom through these real quick, see if there's anything to look at. Nothing here really. See, this would have been a decent entry here for GBP CHF. Right here, we had the rejection. We had the buy signal, and it broke structure right there, right? So it's probably going to push up and test this structure right here. Same pattern over and over again. GJ, I just analyzed that for Louisa earlier. Nothing there for GN, GU, NZD CAD, NZD CHF, NJ, NU, UCAD. It's too close to the next structure right here. Yeah, it's only 10 pips away. USD CHF, nothing there. And nothing there for UJ either. All right, so that's it for the FX pairs. If you guys want me to analyze anything for Forex, if you guys want anything else for Forex, just put the pairs in the chat, and then I'll go ahead and take a look at it as we continue on with this session. Otherwise, I'm going to be looking for some scalps. If there's any scalps that you guys are looking at right now, and if you guys want me to confirm it, just put them in the chat, and I can confirm the scalps as well. Because obviously there's a ton of things to scalp here, and I'm not able to follow every single pair, right? So if you guys can just, give me a little hint for whatever you guys are looking for, we can confirm that. Otherwise, there's just too many pairs for me to look at, because I know all you guys look at something different. I know some of you guys like the S&P, some of you guys like US 30, some of you guys like NASDAQ. If there's anything specific you guys want me to look at, just put it in the chat and I'll take a look. Otherwise, like I mentioned, I'm not going to take too much time on the charts today. I'm just looking at the charts to see if there's any entries. Otherwise, tomorrow's going to be a better day for us to look for some better scalps, because the market's still slow right now. Looking at US 30, nice. So US 30 looks like it's dropping back down right now. I'm still holding on to my position, so it should be fine. Let me check the chat out real quick, see if I missed anything. Tam said, the Forex gives us more profit for the scalps. Exactly, Tam. That's why usually when I trade Forex, guys, I trade on the 4-hour, because I'll take the trade, I'll let it run, and then I'll run a bunch of scalps in between to make more profit, So I get that big move, plus I get the small moves in between. James mentioned, have you used the zone strategy on a higher time frame, like the daily or the weekly? I haven't, James. I don't swing trade. I can't hold a trade for that long. If I hold it for that long, I'm just gonna probably go crazy, bro. Because literally anything could happen in the news, right? Like, for example, here, I'll just show you for example here. Like, say that you were swing trading something before COVID happened, right? Like back in March. So like, for example here, say you took a swing trade here for UJ, right? And you mentioned being on the daily chart, right? So think about this. You were swing trading UJ because you thought that, oh, it's going to keep pushing up, right? It's in a strong bullish uptrend. And then you have this position you've been holding for like months, bro. Imagine you're holding this from like October of 2019. And then you don't know that COVID is happening. And then as soon as the COVID news comes out, you lose all your profits in like a few days. So like, this is why I don't like to swing trade, because like you literally, like, anything can happen in the world that can like screw up your entire position, right? Because like, for example, here, you wouldn't have noticed that this would have dropped right here, right? I'm pretty sure if you were taking this trade and you were still holding it, like you probably would have held it up until that point, right? You'd still like keep following it as it was going down the channel right here. But at this point, you'd already be down like 260 pips. And then probably on the next one, you're like, all right, I should sell off. And then you would have lost all of these profits right here. So not to say that the strategy doesn't work on the higher time frames, it probably does, but I'm just not a swing trader. So I would never look on that higher time frame to apply the strategy. I mean, you can use it if you want, James, but I don't ever get like too attached to a position for like more than a couple of days. Even a couple of days is too long for me. I usually like holding it for like one day or maybe a couple hours. And then I like to get out, because then I can make my profit, get out, go on with my day, do the same thing, rinse and repeat. And that's pretty much, my take on swing trading, especially with what's been going on in the world, right? We don't know if COVID's going to get worse or get better. So I wouldn't necessarily hold a trade for super long and like pray that it's going to get better. Like, for example, right here, if you held this during the COVID, I'm sure whoever held this for a sell thought it was going to keep dropping further and further. But if you sold from down here, you would have gone screwed, because it shot all the way back up before it came back down. So you can test it, James, but I personally haven't tested it myself, so I don't really have a good answer whether it works well or not. But I'm sure it would, because we've used this strategy on all the shorter time frames. We used it on the 4-hour, the 1 hour, the 30-minute, the 10-minute, the 15-minute, and it works perfectly fine, right? So I don't see it not working on the higher time frames. It just doesn't fit my trading style, so it's not something that I've tested or something that I plan on testing like ever. But yeah, so that's it for that question. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, no problem, James. Glad I could help. FR Creation mentioned US 30, it's going down. Yeah, FR. I'm in a US 30 for a scalp right now, for a sell scalp right here. I don't know if it's going to continue dropping. I analyzed it earlier. So if I go back here and I look at US 30 on the 1 hour, so I analyzed it earlier today on the 1 hour time frame. And I think it's going to continue dropping. I just don't know how far it'll drop or you know, for how long. Like, I don't know the distance that it'll drop for, and I don't know for how long. But my scalp right here, I'm just trying to reach this point right here, about 29,970. That's my target right there for my scalp. Or my scalp, let's see. It's actually, yeah, it's 29,968. So it's not that far down, but I don't know how far it'll drop. FR, this can it can easily spike right back up at any point. Like I mentioned earlier, the market's not fully open yet. It's just Asia session, so the market's moving pretty slow. We're probably not going to see any huge movement up until US session opens, like in about, was it 10 hours from now? Yeah, once US session opens, then we could probably see some like nice movement. But for right now, it's probably just going to range within this area before it we reach like morning session. What time does the market open? Right over here for US session. Yeah, so we'll probably bounce around this area for a bit until US session opens. And I think at 6:30 tomorrow, New York Stock Exchange open. When that happens and the NYSE opens, this could probably spike up or spike down. My odds are saying it's probably going to spike up because I probably see a lot of people buying the dip after this drop. But who knows? You know, we'll just have to wait and see how that ends up playing out. But we won't really know until the market fully opens, because technically it's still after hours right now for this for the Dow 30. I know it's the future, and I know the market's technically open 24 hours, but the stock market, which is what pushes this index, is not open yet. So we're probably not going to see any crazy movement until the market fully opens tomorrow. So that's pretty much it for that. Let's see if there's anything else here. Let's see. Rami said, could you look at US 30 again? The 30 and 10 minute, please. All right, Rami, let me take a look. So I'm looking at the 30 minute right here. It still looks like it's going to drop, right? So if this happens right here, like, see how we have this bearish candle? If this closes with that wick above it and it's rejecting off the structure, then I see it dropping pretty heavily. That's going to be a confirmation for another scalp move on the 30 minute. That's basically what I see happening right here. Going down to the 10 minute right here, it looks like it's swinging down already. It doesn't look like it's going to push up any further. So from this point right here, if this ends up pushing down further and closes below the pivots, then we could probably anticipate it to drop even further, Rami. And that's what I'm hoping what will happen, because we're in this for a sell right now, obviously, right? So this is kind of what I see happening here, and this is what I hope will happen, because we're in a sell right now. But you know, we won't really know until it actually plays out. Obviously, you can see how small, like, price is barely moving. It's literally going sideways right here, and it's only moving, let's see. It's only moved like 100 pips, 100 to 200 pips, like in the past, let's see, in the past hour or so, right? Past hour to 2 hours. So volatility is very low right now. So we're probably not going to see too much movement happening, but obviously I have a sell bias because I'm in a sell right now. And on top of that, everything just looks like it's in a downtrend, right? Looking at this here on the 10 minute, it's in a downtrend. It's pretty clear. Looking at it on the 30 minute, it's in a downtrend as well, right? If we even pull back even further, it's been in a downtrend since the 21st. So for about 10 days now, it's been in a downtrend right here. And I wanted to just keep dropping, right? Because we have this sell going on right now. And this is basically what I see happening from this point. So this is pretty much what I see happening, Rami. If this closes right here, we have about 14 minutes left on this candle. If this closes as a bearish red candle and we have that wick off that pivot, then I probably see it dropping even further to push down to our TP right here. But we're probably not going to see much movement until London session. It's only about 9:45. We have about a little over 2 hours before London session opens. So until then, we're probably not going to see too much movement. But once that fully opens, then we could probably see a spike in either direction. Hopefully a down, because we're in this position right here. So that's pretty much it for US 30. See if there's anything else here real quick. Flynn mentioned SPX 500 was so close to a scalp entry on the 30-minute sell scalp. Yeah, let me check that real quick. So I'll pull up SPX right here. Yeah, it's pretty close, Flynn. It looks like it didn't reject off the structure, but if it did, that'd be a nice scalp right there. And for you people here that are new, I'll show you guys, what we're looking for here. So like, for example, here, let me see if I can find an entry. What we're looking for is a rejection off a structure and off a pivot. So looking at US 30 right here, what we were looking for here on the 30-minute, on the 10-minute, is we were looking for a rejection off the pivot and off the K2SR structure. So like, for example, right here, we have this wick, where it's a wick rejection off the pivot. It's also a rejection off the K2SR structure right here. So we would have taken a sell right here and right here. These are two entries right here. And obviously if we took these two entries, they'd hit full TP right here for about 1,300 pips. And then another one right next to it for another 1,300 pips. So that's pretty much what we're looking for here. And that's what everyone's referring to. Like Rami's asking for this analysis for a scalp. And this is pretty much how the strategy works. This is what we've been using pretty much this whole week, how everyone's been profiting, just using the same strategy. We just wait for that, and then we catch the small little spike in price. Generally for the 10-minute, we try to go for 500 pips. For the 1 hour, or the 30-minute, I just doubled up. So instead of going for 500 pips, I went for 1,000 instead. So this is basically what we see playing out right here. What we want to happen right here is unfortunately the structure is like way up here, so it's not going to provide for an entry over here. But on the 30-minute, that's what we were looking at. Let me see if I can go back to US 30. So going back to US 30 on the 30-minute, that's what we identified right here. We identified the rejection off the pivot and off the structure, and we were waiting for it to swing back downwards this way for us to scalp it down. But right now, price is just moving sideways. There's not really much movement going on. It's just going sideways. And then once we reach London open right here, we're probably going to see some volatility right over here, which you can see we still have some time. So it's probably just going to go sideways until then. And then at that point, hopefully it spikes all the way down to our TP right here. It's pretty much all that we're waiting for. So we'll see how this plays out. Otherwise we'll just keep watching it for now. There's still 11 minutes left on this candle. Once this closes below, we can take that, and then we can write it down from that point. All right, let's see if there's anything else here. Yeah, no problem, Rami. Hopefully it drops. I don't know if you're in the sell with us, Rami. I think you might be, right? I know I'm in it. I know a good amount of people here are on it as well. Hey Spencer, I don't know if you're in the live session. I just saw your message. I'm gonna forward you the move over here. Let me see if I can find it here. I don't know if you're in here, Spencer, in the live session. Just take the entry. Take the first entry. All right, guys, I'm just having a side conversation with Spencer right now. If you guys are familiar with Spencer, he's part of the London group and he's part of the backtest group as well for K2. I'm just explaining to him the Josh's Sunday Fun Day entry over here. Let me show you guys real quick. So basically for this strategy right here, this is something that Josh created. Basically the way that the strategy works, I'll go over here to the 10-minute, or I'll go to a clean chart over here. I'll show you guys this strategy. This is a strategy that Josh created in K2. If you guys are familiar with Josh, he's been K2 for a while, and he created the strategy himself. Basically, what we use is the K2 momentum indicator. And let's see, the market opened today. Let's see, 31st, right here. All right, cool. So if we replay this to this point right here, basically the way that the strategy works is we wait for the market to reopen from the weekend, and we wait for the first valid K2 signal. Right here, we have the first valid signal right here for a buy. And when that happens, we enter a long position right there. And then we shoot for 1,500 pips, 1,500 pips. And then we pretty much just set it and then we let it run. So from that point, we would have taken this trade and then it would have hit full TP right there, right? Pretty simple. It's a very, very simple strategy. It's kind of similar to our daily entry, but if you took that trade over here I gave the update that Josh's, so James actually identified it. I didn't look at it this evening, but James identified it. Obviously right here, it was halfway to full TP. And then a few minutes later, it ended up hitting full TP right there. And this is a strategy that was created by one of the K2 members. It wasn't created by me. It was created by Josh. So pretty simple. It's a spin-off off the normal strategy that we use. And it works pretty well. I mean, Josh backtested it and the results are pretty remarkable. I think it was above like an 80% win rate or even an 85%. So if you guys want to apply it, it's available to you if you have the K2 indicators. And, you know, obviously you can hit a lot of profit hitting this. So there's one right there. I think that's, when was the last week? Let me see, check the calendar. Oh, my calendar keeps closing. Last week was the 24th. Let's just see like if it hit on the 24th, because I wasn't paying attention that day. I don't think I took that day either. So 24th was, yeah, so market open right here. The first signal was right here. So I guess if you took a strategy right here, same thing, market open. The first valid signal was right here, sell signal. Wait, actually, yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, so sell signal right here, 1,500 pips. And let's see if it plays out. I think the market was kind of like really slow last week. It looks like it would have hit TP1 down there. I don't think it's full TP, or it does actually. So if you took the trade last week too, full TP. So you can see how accurate, you know, that strategy is too. I didn't even create that strategy. That's one by Josh. So you guys can see that, you know, the K2 members, we all help each other out in K2. We don't find strategies and hide them. Like when we find a good strategy, we introduce them to the whole community and we back test it even further and make sure it really works. And then if it really works, then everyone takes them. So that's pretty much it for that strategy. Let's see if there's anything else here. Rich, Flynn mentioned, if you guys buy the K2 indicators, you can trade without signals. And with the profits, you can buy as many OnlyFans subscriptions as you want. Exactly, right? Yeah, no, Flynn's been killing it. So like Flynn here, he was in K2 a long time ago, and then he kind of went off on his own for a bit, and then he came back. I'm giving you a little history over here, Flynn. But Flynn came back, and then he just started killing it, dude. He's only been applying the strategy for, I don't even know how long. Let me see if I can find our conversation here, Flynn. Yeah, so Flynn came back to K2 like last week, and he's literally been killing it. Like, dude, he's been scalping Euro NZD. Like he used the same scalp strategy on Forex, and he locked in like 461 right there. And then Flynn locked in even more over here. Like the other day, was this the 28th? He locked in about 400 off there, scalping GA and US 30. And then again right here with US 30. And he's just been killing it, dude. So, Flynn over there, he's talking, but, he's really backing up what he's talking, because he came back to K2 and came back to swing. Like, he started locking these profits like day after day after just signing up. Literally, he's just been killing it. So you guys can see here that, if you guys learn the strategy, you guys have the indicators, it's like unlimited potential for you guys. So it's really up to you if you want to take this opportunity or not. Regardless, we're going to keep applying what we're doing, and we're going to keep profiting. Let's see if there's anything else here. Hey, night, Lisa. Hey, Lisa, good night, all. Trade safe. Yeah, definitely. So catch you tomorrow morning, Lisa. I'll probably see you in the morning session tomorrow. Rami said, any sell you're in, I'm more or less likely to be in as well. Yeah, no, definitely. So I think that's about it, guys. I don't see any other questions. If you guys have any other questions, put them in the chat. Otherwise, we're probably going to cut this session early, because I'm going to be back live in about like 6 hours anyways for the morning session. There's just not really much to look at right now. Like I mentioned, market conditions are really slow right now. Let me just check the Forex pairs real quick to see if there's any entries that we can take before I sign off for the night. So we have an entry right here for EG. I might take it. I'm still thinking about it. Let's see. Let's see. We can probably enter it for a small move right here, 40 pips. So if you guys do want to take this trade, let's see. Because we have GBP news coming up, and then we have some high impact Euro news. So I don't think we're going to take this. If you guys do want to take it, more than welcome. Go ahead and take it. This kind of closes in about 2 minutes. So it looks like a decent entry. I just don't want to call it because it's a risky trade, because we have a whole bunch of news coming up right here in the next few minutes. So we have GBP news coming up in the next 3 minutes, and then we have high impact Euro news coming up there, unemployment rate in about 4 hours. So I'm not going to take this trade. If you guys do want to take it, it's available to you guys. Yeah, Luciano. So I'm actually looking at EG right now. I just saw your question right there. If you want to take a look at it, you can take a look at it here. It looks like a decent sell entry if you want to take it, but I'm personally not going to take it because there's news coming up in a few minutes for GBP, and then we have high impact Euro news, the unemployment rate, in about 4 hours. So I don't want to get in this trade and then 4 hours later this ends up like spiking up, right? Which can happen. It happens all the time, especially based on news like that. Euro NCD, it didn't break below the structure, so there's no entry there. Odd CHF, it doesn't look like it's going to break above the structure, so no entry there as well. We needed to break and close above the structure for us to have that entry. Odd CAD right here, same situation. It never came back down like we were anticipating, so there's no entry there either. Other than that, everything that I've marked up is invalid. The only valid entry here would be EG, but it's not something that I necessarily would want to take or that I would advise taking because it's just a risky trade. Flynn said, trust the strategies, trust the system. It works, everyone. Sign up before it's too late. Exactly right. Yeah, before Flynn takes all the profits because he's been like scalping everything. I need to start scalping what you're scalping, Flynn. Let's see. So Flynn likes to scalp Euro NZD and GA. So looking at Euro NZD right here. Here, I'll show you guys some scalp entries right here that Flynn probably took or that he could have taken. So looking at this right here, we have the, see if there's any, okay, so right here, this is a perfect entry right here. So we have this zone right here. We actually have a couple entries right here. So I'm just gonna mark up these zones right here so that you guys can see what we're looking at. So let's see, we have a zone right here. I'm just gonna show you all these scalp entries that you could have taken, even, you know, applying the same strategy that we've been applying for these other ones with Euro NZD as well, because you can apply these to any pair that really moves pretty quickly, like EN, GA, EA, GA, and I don't know, there's a couple other pairs that you can trade on that moves kind of similar to US 30, because this strategy was based off US 30, but everyone started using it on everything else. So like, for example, right here, we have a, let's see, right here. So perfect. we have a rejection, or no, it doesn't necessarily reject off the pivot. Okay, here's a perfect one right here. So for example, right here, we have the rejection that I mentioned earlier, rejection off the pivot and rejection off the structure right there, right? With that said, you can enter a long position right here. So at that point, you have the rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. You can enter a long position from right there. I think the sweet spot for this was like 30 pips, right, Flynn? Or 25, something like that. So if you were to do that and you took the next trade straight to full TP, like it's literally like a sniper call right there. There's a full TP right there. And then there's a bunch of entries right here as well. So if you go back to here as well, we have the rejection of the pivot and the structure. With that said, we enter into the long position right here. And, you know, obviously that same candle hit the full TP right there for that as well. And then going back over here, there's a couple other entries. There's an entry off that red candle. There's also an entry off this green candle and off this one right here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 scalps right there. If you took all those 5 scalps right there, so 5 times 25, you lock in 125 pips right there. If you're taking that with the standard lot times 10, you would have locked in 1,250 bucks in profit. So, you know, that just goes to show that if there's something that you like to trade, you could probably apply it on there as well. So that's pretty much it, guys. You know, unless you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out. Other than that, I think that's about it for our analysis tonight. Just a reminder, guys, I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow will be our normal session. It's during the week, Monday through Friday at 6:30 a.m. I'll be live that time, and we'll have like way more scalps around that time. There's just not enough market movement right now for us to really take any trades. But if you guys do want to take this EG right here, this would be the entry. However, I don't really recommend taking it because there's news right now for GBP, and then in 4 hours, there's news for Euro. So I think that's about it, guys. If you guys have any questions, email me or message me on Telegram. Otherwise, I'm going to get through all the emails from last night. I think I have about like, let's see, I've got about like 40 emails to go through. So I'm going to get through that before I call it a night, and then I'll be back for tomorrow's live session. Other than that, guys, it was a great session so far. See you later, Kyle. See you, Flynn. See everybody. And I'll catch you guys here tomorrow morning. So guys, have a safe night. If you guys decide to trade, be careful. Don't jump into anything too crazy. And, you know, conserve that capital for the week, guys. It's NFP week, so we're going to have a great trading week coming forward. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. Other than